Well, thanks a lot. I want to thank all of you for being here. We really appreciate this day, our Alumni Business Conference. We get to see a lot of familiar faces. This tends to be the group that is most knowledgeable about the school and the university and is most passionate in its support. So we really appreciate you coming back for this day and for all you do every day of the year to support the University of Texas. I want to thank Carrie Kinch, our Alumni Director, for what she does to organize our strategies in this area. She's brilliant, except when she puts me between students and lunch to speak. I'm cognizant of my position in the program, so I won't run over too much. I also want to thank the members, and in particular the leadership of our BBA and MBA alumni chapters. That, quite frankly, is where the backbone of our alumni activities take place. It's very special to us, and I really appreciate all the energy and leadership that you bring to the fore in promoting those activities. I'm not going to talk for very long today. What I wanted to do is talk a little bit about, get into the weeds at McCombs a little bit, talk about some of our programming, how we're doing with respect to the metrics that we compare ourselves about. I only want to talk about for about 15 or 20 minutes and maybe open it up for questions after that point in time. I think that the general message is the business school is doing very, very well. Now, I need to put that in context. I became dean 15 days before Lehman Brothers failed. So frankly, anything looks better to me than when I first started. But the hotel's doing great. Our facilities master planning process is going extremely well. The philanthropic support we're getting from our donors and benefactors and graduates has been very, very generous and conducive to making us move forward. Our academic programming is stellar. You saw some Master of Finance students earlier. I will just tell you, and this is honest to God truth, no bragging, these kids are unbelievably smart in every program that we have, and I'll show you some statistics that make that point more evident. And they're doing very well in the job markets and in the academic markets into what they enter. So that's the summary. Let me go through and talk about some specifics, and then we'll stop and have a dialogue about the school later on. Bill Powers is going to come after lunch and talk a little bit. Richard Fisher is going to give a keynote speech, which will return, I presume, back to the economy a bit, and then we'll carry on from there. These slides come from our annual report. Those of you who do this kind of stuff, I would advise you to get on our website and look at the electronic version of our annual report. It contains a lot of very good information about the progress of our programs. What I want to do is organize my talk today around programs. I want to start with a program that many of you will not be aware of or maybe did not take part in. We have a very large PhD program at McCombs. It's about 100 students at any point in time. The purpose of this PhD program is to educate the educators. Educate people who are going to go to other business schools typically and educate the business students at those schools. Why do we focus on that? It's very important for the reputation of the University of Texas and the McCombs School of Business that we be recognized as a place where leadership is, where knowledge is developed, where thought leadership takes place, where the kind of insights that managers and business leaders need is being developed. That color graphic on the bottom shows you the percent of our graduates that end up at top 50 business schools. That number has gone from, as I can read it, 12% to about 43% last year. Last year, Stanford Graduate School of Business hired 2 PhDs from the McCombs School of Business, one in accounting, one in marketing to staff their program. So our graduates are becoming educators at some of the most preeminent business schools in the country, and that's a very important goal for us. It's a reflection, too, on the quality of our faculty. Those students are educated exclusively by the research faculty who are at McCombs, and they're of the highest caliber themselves. Our BBA program is just very, very good. It's good in a couple ways. From this chart, you might be able to see that the tallest column are the number of applications we get into our program. That number tends to increase every year. It was about 7,000 last year. It's about 8,000 this year. Unfortunately, we can't admit everybody who applies. We admit about 1 in 5 students into our program. Total student population across all 4 years is roughly 4,000. It's starting to climb a little bit, probably should be 4,500 next year. And that metric on the bottom is a standardized test score, the SAT score. On the two-part test, the average score is 1364, which puts our average students in the top 6% of test takers. So that's our average student. So they tend to be very academically accomplished. The program outcomes, students do well when they get through the program. Everybody who uses our undergraduate career service gets a job. So that 100% number means if you show up and you tell us that you want a job, we counsel you with career counselors, we hook you up with employers, and we get you a job. That's the nature of it. Last year, the starting salaries were $55,000. The starting bonus was a little over $6,000. So this is for a 23-year-old that has come through. This is kind of cool. I'm thinking about starting over myself. This is kind of nice. The other metrics on the top are corporate participation. The yellow bar, I believe, is the number of companies recruiting on campus. We have more recruiters on campus than we've ever had at the McCombs School of Business. That actually was a perverse consequence of the Great Recession. A lot of companies decided we're going to interview at fewer, better campuses. So McCombs was actually a beneficiary of that, and the benefit to the student has been evident as well. And I can't read those columns below. I'm turning 60 this year. Parts are failing. That's the nature of it. This is a slide that I think is very important for people to understand. The top part is the gender mix of our population. At the undergraduate level, we're basically half women, half men. The bottom chart is something that a lot of people ask about. There's a lot of discussion in the press about the level of debt that students are carrying out of college. Debt in general is not a great thing, unless you're a bank and that's your clients that have debt. But one thing we worry about is, can you get through the McCombs School of Business without much debt? You can kind of see from the bottom red line, that 65% number. 2/3 of the students that graduate from McCombs have no debt, according to our records, and that debt would be student loans, formal packages. We have no clue whether they have obligations to their uncles, right? That kind of debt, or daddy debt. There's always daddy debt, as I tell my children. But in terms of formal debt, about 2/3 of the kids that leave here don't have any debt. Of those that do have debt, the average debt load's a little over $20,000. With starting salary above $50,000, it's a pretty good bargain. And I think you should be comfortable that UT and the McCombs School of Business offers great value to the students that come through. Within our BBA program, which is roughly 4,000 students, we have an honors program, which is roughly 500 students. This would be the higher academic performers in the program, as well as those students who've had some high school and leadership activities before they get there. You can see that within the quality metrics that we measure, the SAT, the average is around 1453, and that puts them in the top 3% of test takers. Now, we all know that to be a great business leader, it requires more than brains. All of the people that are admitted to this program are holistically reviewed to make sure that they have indicators or markers of the kind of leadership that we think is essential for great business leadership. So they're really impressive people, and maybe next year we can bring them here instead of the Master of Science and Finance students. They do remarkable things. MBA programs are doing very well. That bottom left-hand number, 234, that was the entering class for the fall of 12. The entering class for the fall of 13 was around 270. Our total population is a little over 500. Again, the test they take is called a GMAT. It puts them in roughly the top 7% of test takers. Very good. Average work experience is 5 years for our MBA program. They come out of some very prominent companies to join us at McCombs, and they leave with very good jobs and strongly placed, which is reflected in this figure. The students who leave our full-time MBA program on average earn salaries above $100,000 and bonuses in the $25,000 range. The MBA market has recovered quite a bit from the Great Recession. Our applications this year for the fall matriculants is up 21%. So the selectivity in the program keeps growing as we go up. That certification at the top left that says A, the career service activities provided by full-time MBA programs are independently assessed by organizations to see the quality, to measure the quality of services we provide. And our career services, I'm really proud to say, is always measured A or above, A+. It's really important that we provide not only great education and career counseling, but good job placement as we leave the MBA program. And our student success depends intensely upon that. And I'm sure this is an impressive slide, but I can't read it. It's really good. I think this slide, what you should draw from this slide is just how complex are the MBA offerings here at McCombs School of Business. See how the left side of the slide is organized into 4 quadrants? We have MBA programs in Dallas and Houston. We have an evening MBA program in Austin. We have executive MBA programs in Austin and Mexico City, populated chiefly by expats and Latin American business professionals who want an American MBA degree. And all of these programs have impressive students that do well post-program in advancing their careers. The experience level differs across the programs from 6 years to 10 years. The executive program, the average work experience is 15 years. So these are people in their 40s to 50s, mid-career people who are frankly transitioning or beginning to become competitive for C-suite type jobs. The idea about what I want you to take away from this is that the McCombs School doesn't offer 1 or 2 academic programs. It offers a variety of academic programs, a dozen fundamentally, that fulfills or fills the gaps in business education for almost any age or any industry need type person. These are student outcomes from our specialty master's programs. You saw the Master of Finance program. We also have master's programs in business analytics. These are programs that are designed to address the big data needs of industry. The big consumers of our students in those programs are IBM, the Walmarts, the Dells, the people like that who either sell services or hardware associated with data analytics or consume and use the analytics that come out of broad data collection and processing type activities. That's another program. School highlights, let me talk a little bit about this. One of the big foci in our strategic plan is entrepreneurship, innovation, technology, commercialization. We tried to make that more real by offering MBA scholarships around entrepreneurship. That scholarship is managed by our Texas Venture Lab Experiential Learning Competition, which is a program in which students get to take real intellectual property that's produced at UT or around UT, take a semester and work in conjunction with other graduate students, usually law students or students out of natural sciences, try to advance that IP further along the commercialization pathway. At the end of the semester, their presentation is not to professors, it's to venture capitalists. And we get to grade them, but often the real grade is whether or not money shows up in response to the ideas that they put forth on how to commercialize IP. And many of the students who work through this process do that. We have a very strong master's program in technology commercialization, which is a 1-year program that teaches people how to take IP and commercialize it. The people in the program often have advanced degrees in science, technology, medicine. They're gadgeteers. We all have an uncle like this, right? The one who could change and revolutionize the world if he could only figure out a way to commercialize and sell his great ideas. That's what this program is for. So if you have an uncle like that, please refer him to me. We'd love to stick him in this program. It's highly rated within the context of world programs in this area. Healthcare. New medical school going in at Austin. Anybody heard about that? All right. Buildings have started to be built. We have a new dean, Clay Johnson, who's joining us from University of California, San Francisco. I've spent about 3 hours with him talking about programming. The McCombs School of Business about 4 years ago launched a very strong thrust in healthcare management and innovation. Has 2 real thrusts to it. One has to do with technology commercialization, taking ideas that have to do with healthcare delivery, health IT, et cetera, and figuring out a way to find commercial uses for it. The other has to do with healthcare delivery systems. You probably all know this, that the world of delivering healthcare is changing from a doc and a patient interface to a team and a patient interface, or a patient and an institution interface. There's a lot of room for management strategy and business acumen in that process. The new dean of our medical school is very keenly aware of this, and he's very excited to partner with a business school that has some strong interest in this activity. So you should look for new master's programs. You should look for new innovative executive education programming around this area. So those alumni in the room that work in healthcare, please start to consider us or pay attention to see if we might be able to generate some programming that complements your managerial goals in your organizations. We have a lot of faculty already at the business school who are focused in this, and we're going to build that up already. Strong focus in energy management because of the leadership of some of our alumni who happen to work in the energy sector. It turns out, surprisingly, we have a lot of alumni who work in the energy sector at the University of Texas. And they've been vociferous consumers of managerial talent over the past 5 years. We've built some programming in our undergraduate program designed to equip students with almost any degree on campus with the specialized knowledge they need to advance in the energy sector. It's kind of a modification of the old petroleum land management programs, but designed to be suitable for students with any kind of background. We're excited about that. I think we have 33 students in the program. Last summer, I don't know if John Butler's in the room, I think we have 40 this year that are going in the program, and the word is getting out and the program is getting more popular. You guys could guess what the program's like. We add a couple courses in geology, a couple courses in engineering, particularly petroleum engineering, and some courses in property law and oil and gas law, so that a student who is very well trained in finance or marketing or in engineering, in an engineering field, or in geology can round out their education to be very valuable in their first job in the energy sector. That's about it. Let me just say a couple other things. Facilities master plan. We have a facilities master plan to refresh the old facilities that we're in, the rhomboid-shaped building with the big glass face on it called GSB, and the rectangular building on Speedway. The rhomboid is going to be turned into an undergraduate teaching facility. The rectangular building on Speedway is going to be turned into a faculty and staff office tower. The Mulva family has graciously given us a league gift of $40 million to begin construction on that probably within the next 3 or 4 years. Before that takes place, we're going to put up an entire new graduate education building right next to this building right here immediately to the west. So Players Restaurant, a very popular destination as it turns out for many business alumni, sadly, which drives our healthcare business, by the way. It's going to be on that spot, the spot where Schlotsky's is, the flat parking lot. And there used to be a Shell station at the corner of Guadalupe and MLK. Bob Rolling and the Rolling family graciously gave us a $25 million league gift on that. We're about 75% of the way that we need to be on the rest of the philanthropic component of that. The financing for the building includes bonds serviced by university tuition, by the executive education from this building. So we're making a lot of progress. We expect to break ground on that building in November. And at the end of the day, it will be connected to this building. Below grade, if you were to go down to the first floor of this building, walk down the stairs and turn left, we're going to drill through underneath Whitus and connect this building to a very large ballroom in the other building. So these buildings can be used in conjunction to support our executive development programming. Galen, who is acting as the MC for today, is our Associate Dean for Executive Education Programs. And in the past 4 years, he's more than doubled the program days of that program. We intend to double it again once we have new facilities to do that. So we're very excited about that. We're very excited about our new academic programming. We've started the Master of Science in Finance. We started the Master of Science in Business Analytics. We're in discussions with our marketing department to provide some master's level training around quantitative marketing. Those of you who are in the marketing field know that it's changed dramatically in the past 5 or 10 years, owing chiefly to the collection and use of data and the marketing function by firms. And we're trying to provide some offerings in there. And we're continuing to try to build the kind of executive development program that'll service people like you, people who are mid, beginning, or late career who think they need some additional training to make their professional objectives advance. So we're very keen to what the markets look like. We want to be in all of them because we're large and we're UT, damn it. And we have the quality of faculty who can do those kinds of things. So school's doing well. We're very excited to be here. We have plenty on our plate. It's just a lot of fun being the dean here. This is my 6th year as dean, and like I say, it feels a bit better. The economy's better, and my job has changed from strategic vision to setting goals to doing it. I feel like I'm more in execution mode, which is a more comfortable place for me. So I'm more comfortable doing than thinking. That's the idea. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the school or the university. Bill is going to come by later on, and he's promised to leave some time for questions about the university, which is my clever way of saying I don't want to talk about the politics associated with the University of Texas. But I'm happy to talk about the university, about the business school. Any questions? This is just like class. There's a question, yeah.
The engineering school is proposing a very large new engineering research building, which will include hopefully interaction with the McCombs School.
That's right.
Would you comment on that, please?
So I mentioned this earlier, this Texas Venture Labs program. This is a program at the MBA level where our graduate students, together with graduate students from engineering, natural sciences, and law, work on the technology commercialization process. So that's one source of interaction. Bob Metcalf, he's a gadfly who worries about technology commercialization and innovation, works intimately with us to make sure that we're interacting with the scientific parts of the university. Oddly enough, I was exchanging emails yesterday with the new chair of the chemical engineering department about some new programs around technology commercialization. The way I see this is that we're obviously not trying to train engineers or Scientologists in the business school, but we're trying to train people who understand enough about engineering and technology to be able to find commercial uses for it. And the best way to train students to do that is to have them interact with other students at the technical schools around campus. So we're doing more joint listing of courses, more joint programming. And the ex-dean, Greg Finbez, and I came from California on the same day and started here. He's done better than me. He got promoted. But I'm on the search committee for the new engineering dean, and we're looking, like the medical school dean, I think Bill would say this too, we're looking for a dean that can interact with other sources of excellence on campus besides their own school. This is one of the advantages that Texas has, is that it's grand everywhere. And if you're running a school like McCombs, you are missing a big opportunity if you're not taking advantage of an engineering school, medical school, a pharmacy school, etc. So we spend a lot of time working on programming around those areas. So expect to see more of it. Yeah. I saw Gilbert here earlier. Gilbert always has questions. Where? No? He won't acknowledge it. Well, listen, why don't we do the following then? Why don't we have lunch, which is a benefit. I think, Galen, you were going to come up here and tell them about the logistics for lunch? Thank you all very much again for all the support.